Orleans Pelicans. Currently 5th place. Surprisingly, their stars have been healthy-ish this year, right? Zion's only missed 12 games. Ingram's only missed 5. CJ McCollum has missed the majority of the year. He's only played 25 games so far. But with him back in the lineup, they're looking pretty legit. Despite that, they're currently sitting in 5th place. What are your thoughts? Are they a threat to anybody in the top 4?
I do think they are a threat to the top 4 teams. I'll get into a little more specifically who matchup-wise in a second. But the Pelicans have been playing really good basketball recently. As you mentioned, CJ McCollum came back. They won 8 out of 9 games going into the All-Star break. And I think the biggest reason why is Zion Williamson has been playing point guard for the New Orleans Pelicans, at least offensively.
Point Zion back at it again.
And, let's be honest, Zion, we've seen him enough. What is it, like his 5th year in the NBA, I believe? Yeah. He's not an off-ball player. So putting the ball in his hands makes a lot of sense. It helps the offense more overall, even if it is just because he's going to be playmaking and not scoring more, because him just sitting in the corner allows his defender to just stand in the middle of the paint and not move off of him. And Zion's not going to go cut. He's not going to run up and get a catch and shoot. Like, that's just not the guy he is. So go ahead, put the ball in his hand. I think he's playing himself more into shape, because at the beginning of the year, he looked really off, to be honest. I mean, kind of fair, the criticism he was getting, he didn't look in shape. Looks like he's been playing his way into shape. And, they also run a lot of pick and roll with Zion and Val from 15 feet away. So not back at the 3-point line, but really close to the basket,
high
which
post
gives
pick and
Zion
roll type of deal.
Yeah, it gives him one dribble and he's at the basket. And we all know the type of finisher he is. And this works so well now that CJ's back, because CJ can play
spread
off
the floor.
ball.
Yeah, exactly.
He can play off ball. We saw what he did in Portland. He's very capable of doing that, and he can still guard the point guard on the other end. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Like you said, Zion's been mostly healthy. Ingram's been mostly healthy. And CJ's missed a lot too. But those 3 have never really been healthy together at the same time since they've been together. And if you look a little further at the rest of their roster, they're currently 8th in points per game on defense. So the roster around Zion and Ingram is good. They drafted well guys like Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, Dyson Daniels. Young guys, big, long wings, can make threes. Big thing, made them one of the deepest teams in the NBA. BI can make tough shots. I think they have the talent to get out of the first round in the playoffs. I think they have the talent to make the Western Conference Finals, if we're being honest. Will they? Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't, even with this being said, with Zion having the ball in his hands, this new style of play, I still don't think they could beat the Clippers or the Nuggets in a series. I do think they could give the Timberwolves or Thunder a run for their money, make it super competitive. But I just don't know if I trust in Zion having that much responsibility in the current shape he's in, despite being in better shape. I don't know if he can control the game like that for the whole game in a playoff series. That's really what it comes down to.
I mean, you said everything I was going to say. So I 100% agree with you. It just depends on the matchup, right? They are middle of the pack offensively. They're 14th in points per game at 116.6 points per game. Their strength really is on the defensive side of the ball, 8th in the league in points allowed at 112 a game. They just have length everywhere at the wing position. And as you said, point Zion is the way they need to be playing, and just surround them with shooters. It's the LeBron effect, right? You have an elite finisher. He's an okay playmaker, probably better than people give him credit for. Spread the floor, and that's your best bet on offense. And my take is exactly the same. I think the Thunder would have a really hard time against this team, because it's going to be the first go round for them in the playoffs. And I am going to try to avoid them. Honestly, the West is just a crapshoot, because the Suns are sitting at 7th right now.
Did you see? So the difference between the 1st seed and 2nd seed in the East is bigger than the 1st and the 8th seed in the West. That's how crazy it is.
So all of these teams on any given night could beat each other. There's really only two teams, like you said, that I can fully trust to make it out of the first round, and that's the Clippers and the Nuggets, just because they're experienced, they're really talented, and I think they can beat anybody in a series. But everyone else outside of that can get beaten. I have no faith in the Timberwolves. I have no faith. I mean, I love the Thunder. They were my pick to be a top 3 seed this year. But in a series, matching up against Phoenix, matching up against New Orleans, can I confidently pick them? I'd love to, because they're my favorite team in the playoffs right now, because the Jazz suck. But I don't know if I can. So depending on who they match up, they could easily make it to the second round. So they are a team to watch for. They're scary. They have talent. And much like the Clippers, this feels like the year that they're finally kind of putting it together, because of injuries on injuries on injuries have just derailed this team's potential for the past seasons. And that's why, honestly, going into this year, I was out on them, much like I was the Clippers, because it's just the same old, hey, wait till we're healthy. Wait till we're healthy. Wait till we're healthy. I'm like, are you ever going to be healthy? Maybe this year is the year.
And honestly, because the roster that is currently built around Zion and Ingram is title contender ready. Like if you put the Lakers, Stars, LeBron, and AD on this team, they're everyone's favorite to win the title. And so I only see two things that are holding this team back from winning it this year. Number one, I think their center situation could have been a little different. Too bad for them, because he's a solid player. I just don't think he fits amazingly with Zion. Too bad for them. The Bucks didn't sell off everybody. At this point, they could have got Brook Lopez. They would really benefit from that type of player with Williamson, inside defender who can shoot. But, they have Val. They're still a good team. And my other one is the fact that Zion isn't like a 1A tier kind of star yet. He's shown flashes and the ability to do that, mostly injury holding him back. Now I just feel like it's how much in shape he actually is at this point. As I mentioned, better than it was for sure, because to start the year, he wasn't even jumping good. Like he wasn't running back. He was looking really tired in the in-season tournament game when they got killed by the Lakers. Like it just wasn't looking good for him. So the thing is, New Orleans either need to decide if he's the guy to lead them, because they have the roster that's honestly ready. I think Ingram as a second star works great, because playoffs, tough shot maker. He's got a lot better as a creator. He gets like 5 assists a game the last 2 years. He's big. Like they're really close to being a legit title contender. And like in the playoffs, depending on what Zion actually does with all this added responsibility of playing point guard, will tell us a lot about if he is the guy capable of leading the team to do so.
100% agree, man. I think it's a make or break year in terms of Zion's place in the NBA. Because if he either goes into the playoffs injured again or underperforms to what we kind of hoped him to be, which was a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA when healthy and all that stuff, then they should maybe shop him around. But what do you get, though? What do you get in return for Zion? We kind of had a podcast way back in the summer. Who knows? Because there are a few players that are talented enough to be that 1A on a championship caliber team, right? You're not going to get Luka.
Nope.
You're not getting that type of a player for Zion. So they're really banking hard on Zion having a breakout postseason, because we've never seen him before there. So,
yeah, I mean, their best case scenario to move him off would be a star player asks out and they offer a bunch to get that star. Because Zion would be helpful in that situation, but it takes more than him. And if they'd want to do that, to be seen. Or for them to trade for a younger guy who projects to be on that star path, right? Which would set them back a few years, and their roster construction then would be slightly off, because they'd have to keep and pay all these young guys that they have now. So they wouldn't be able to keep all of them going forward, I'm sure. But definitely a big situation. I think, yeah, this offseason, like you said, I think it will mostly determine Zion's long-term future with the Pelicans more than anything. Because they've really been hoping since AD left that he would be the guy to lead their franchise, and he hasn't been that guy.
Yeah. All in all, going to be very interesting to watch this team down the stretch because they have the talent to pretty much beat anybody in the West, or at least give them the run for money, make it a competitive and exciting series. I just hope this is the year Zion we can actually watch in the playoffs. For crying out loud, we have never seen him, and he's been living off those Duke days ever since.
Oof.
So let's see a healthy Zion in the playoffs. Can we just get that? Will the basketball gods bless us with that finally? Let's hope so, because it'll be a lot of fun to watch.